Hi everyone, today we'll talk about one of the key features of CW Cloud, which is our serverless engine or function as a service, which is the kind of developer experience you could find on the modern cloud providers. It's a matter of providing a simple interface used by developers who will be able to focus only on the business aspects of their code. It means that the developer won't have to take care about everything related to the deployment and exposition of his web service. So here we can see a list of available programming languages and we'll be able to create our first function in Python. I'll call this function hello-p and I'll add some arguments. You can see that adding arguments will dynamically update the code. So I'm adding two arguments, name and surname. And this function will say hello to those arguments values. Now I'm adding a callback using the webhook.site website, which is very suitable for this purpose. Here we can see that the function has already been deployed and that I didn't have to take care about compilation, exposition, and deployment of a microservice. And now I'm able to invoke my function directly from here. And if I click right here, I'll get a form dynamically generated from the arguments of the function. And then I'll be able to put my name and surname here. Now we can see the result of the function here, which is working fine, and we can see the response, hello, Idris Neumann. And we can also observe an HTTP post event on the webhook website, which indicate that we have invoked this function with those arguments. We can see the result again, hello, Idris Neumann. Now we'll try to create a second function which will invoke the previous one in a language which is called Blockly. It is a low-code programming language which is based on a visual programming experience. This kind of developer experience is very popular among some particular population of users, such as IoT makers. Now I'll go back in order to copy the ID of the first function, and then I'll go to the Blockly function editor and reuse this ID. This one will be called Hello Bill, and I'm adding two arguments, name and surname, like we did with the previous function. Here I can see that the block has dynamically been updated with the two arguments. And now I'll add a synchronous invocation block and paste the previous ID of the first function. Then I'll indicate to this function that I'll pass some arguments. Then I'm injecting the two arguments in this invocation. To achieve this, I'll the block set an argument with key and put name. And we can see that we can find the arguments name and surname in the variables. I can copy past this block to do the same with surname. Now we're creating four variables in order to extract the result, response, content, entity, and result. There you go. Then we'll set the response of the invocation in the response variable. And now what we have to do is extracting this result part of the payload. To achieve this, I'll use the block set in order to set a value with the result variable and the JSON block getValue in order to extract a key from the response variable. The key will be entity here. Then after entity we have content, and finally we have result. So now I can also expose this function as a web service. I can invoke it again, just like before, with a dynamically generated form. Here we can see that there's two similar invocations that just has been created. It's because the Blockly function has invoked the Python function with its own result. Last demo, I'm invoking my function with the CWC command line interface. We can see that we got a subcommand phase with a subcommand list. I can copy the Blockly's function's ID. And here I'll use the synchronous flag to get the result directly in the response of the command line. And here we can see the result, Benjamin Durand. And this is it for this demo. And we plan to do other demo on other parts, such as the deployment as a service on Kubernetes or virtual machines. Thanks for watching.